Turn now to the interviews with your kids. We previously had each of them come in and we did a little interview with them and asked them what they thought you did right. So let's start in order of age. We'll start with Shelisa. She's the oldest of the 10. Shelisa served her mission in San Antonio, Texas. So, Shelisa?
I had a bishop once who described my mom as being one of the rarest gems on the face of the earth.
Wow, what a tribute.
And I think she truly is that. And I think she's remarkable in the way she approaches parenting. In that I don't think she, well, I guess to say, I think she looks at it like this was my mission here on earth. And I was supposed to bring, this family together. And she takes that responsibility really seriously. And motherhood's the greatest thing that we can do. And I know the world's not really very appreciative of the efforts in motherhood all the time. And I think that she's taken this approach similar to, I think, what Joseph Smith said about, teach them correct principles and let them govern themselves. And I think she's really given us or respects our agency.
Great insight into an amazing woman. In what ways has your mother influenced you personally?
What comes to mind is the quote from, I think it's Abraham Lincoln. He said, everything I am or hope to be, I owe to my mother.
Right.
And I think really she's given us kind of everything.
Okay, so that's your oldest, Shelisa, and that's her take on things. What do you think?
She's being kind. Like I said, the story of her. That's just, she was always so
sweet from the
pure
beginning.
and good, yes. Always such a leader, always had. That's one thing that I think that is such a gift that just came with these kids, and that each one of them, I could take each one and really look at them individually, and they all came with that desire to do what's right and to be good, which is something you can't parent. I can't begin to take credit for that, and I don't. And I think you can teach them, obviously, guide them and direct them, and there's little things that come up in their lives that you can help them work through. But ultimately, I think that's the key. And I can never take credit for being some amazing parent. I just can't.
Well, we don't want to underemphasize the important role of parents, but I think you're right. To some extent, they do come the way they come.
Well, but I also think you do have to live somewhat of an example of a life. I mean, they have to see some form of, how to channel that, or they have to be. I mean, obviously they can't take themselves to church when they're really small.
Right.
And I mean, we do have to put forth some effort, obviously, and go through some, some steps. But and I think ultimately be a good example yourself, because kids they know who you are.
Sure.
You can't pretend with kids.
We did an interview a few weeks ago with one of the general authorities that said, children are like an investment. You've got to get it in. You've got to get that investment in early for the best returns.
I think they need and want structure to a degree. And if they grow up with that, and obviously when you have a big family, you have to have a bit of that. Like I had to have somewhat of a routine, and I always believed in trying to, make sure they were not too hungry or too tired or too,
overdo things.
Yeah,
too much.
If I could just kind of stay on top of those things, and those are little physical things, but I think they add up and help with the overall well-being of a child.